What's going on, guys, and welcome back to the YouTube channel. Now in today's video, it's going to be a little bit different than the videos I usually post, but as some of you guys might know, the 2019 Detroit Auto Show was a few days ago, and they released some absolutely epic cars. Now I'm sure if you guys are active on social media, you've probably seen some of the cars, but I wanted to talk about in this video 4 of my favorite cars that they announced, and I wanted to give you guys a little bit of brief information about the cars in case you haven't heard of them already. If you guys are new to the channel, I drive a 2018 Ford Focus RS, and then as a project car, I have a 2008 Subaru Legacy GT that we just picked up a few months ago. So I do videos on both of those. This is a very new video for me, so if you're a new subscriber here or a new face in general, go ahead, hit that subscribe button, subscribe to the channel. Epic content coming, so let's jump right into it. All right, so the car that I'm actually not too sure how I feel about is the new Ford Explorer ST. So if you guys aren't familiar with the ST line, there used to be the Fiesta ST, the Ford Focus ST, and then the Ford Focus RS as their kind of premium line, which is what I drive. So mine's a 2018 race red. It's the last year they're gonna make this car. But came out with the Ford Edge ST, which is all-wheel drive. It was a twin-turbo V6, really solid platform, cool car, but it was an SUV, and they totally got rid of the Focus ST, the Focus RS, and the Fiesta ST. So in my opinion, that's a really big hit on Ford. Now it's really sad to me because they're not gonna be bringing the Mark IV of any of the Focus STs, Fiesta STs, or the Focus RS, which they haven't come out with the Mark IV of yet. But there are predictions that there is going to be a Mark IV of the Focus RS, and it's supposedly going to be a hybrid model, which I don't know how I feel about it. I guess we'll have to see how it works out, see what the car's platform is, see what kind of power it puts down, and so on and so forth. But I think it's a huge hit to Ford, and I'm not sure why they decided to cancel all of the hatchbacks and sedans like the Focus ST, Focus RS, Fiesta ST, because I know a ton of people that drive them, love them, and adore the cars. I think they're losing out on a huge market by discontinuing those. But at the 2019 Detroit Auto Show, they just announced the 2020, I guess it'll be, Ford Explorer ST. So now they have the Ford Edge ST and the Ford Explorer ST. Now the Ford Explorer ST is going to come with a 3-liter twin turbo V6 that's going to be putting down 400 horsepower and 415 foot-pounds of torque, which is pretty hefty for an SUV. I've got to give it to them. It's probably going to be a torque monster. It's probably going to feel really fast out of the hole, but it's an SUV, and I don't know how excited I am for that. I think it's going to be a cool car for those that are looking for it, but I'm a hot hatch guy. I love my 4 cylinders. I love the RS. It's absolutely perfect. This is my favorite car I've ever driven, and I just don't know how I feel about it. The cool thing about the Ford Explorer ST is it's going to be paired to a 10-speed automatic transmission. You can't opt for a manual. Obviously, it's an SUV. Most of the people who are going to be buying this car are families, dads that want some type of sporty car, but without it being too impractical, say like a Focus RS, which I still think is practical, but an Explorer and Edge ST would be way more practical than a Focus RS. I'm excited to see some reviews when the Explorer ST is out on the streets and people have purchased them and bought them. I'm really looking forward. Maybe I'll get to test drive one someday and see what it's like, but I still just don't know how I feel about that car. So if you guys are excited for the Ford Explorer ST, let me know down in the comments below. Now the most anticipated car, I believe, of the 2019 Detroit Auto Show had to have been the brand new Toyota Supra. Now, I saw some renderings of what that car was supposed to look like before Toyota actually announced what it was gonna look like, and then all of a sudden, as I'm sure many of you guys know, it's probably old news now, somebody had leaked a video of the brand new Supra, and I was really disappointed, and still am not sure how to feel about the way the car looks. I think it's a decent looking car, but I think it really does look like the BMW Z4, which is what the car is based off of. Now, it does have a turbocharged 3-liter inline 6, and it is paired to an automatic transmission. Toyota didn't mention anything about a manual, so we're not 100% sure if you're going to be able to get a Toyota Supra in a manual, which if it doesn't come in a manual, I don't know. I've heard some people say the car's going to do really well regardless, and 10 years from now the car's going to be rare and people are going to wish they bought them, but I'm really not sure what they're going to do. I don't know how many units of the car they're producing, but as far as looks go, I'm not that impressed by it. I think it kind of looks like just a BMW Z4 with a few different body lines. So I think the fact that it's a turbocharged inline six, I think that's cool. Now the Z4 produces 382 horsepower and 369 foot-pounds of torque, but Toyota did announce on the Supra that it's going to have a little less power than that. So the Supra is going to put down 335 horsepower and 365 foot-pounds of torque. So still very solid numbers. I think for the Supra, it's going to be rear-wheel drive. I think it's going to be just enough power to have a lot of fun, but it's not going to be too much to handle. Obviously, everybody wanted a 2J in the Supra, but I think what Toyota is doing is smart. I think the power delivery is going to be smooth, feel good. So I guess we'll just have to see when some reviews come out on the car, how people take it. But what I am impressed with from the Supra is the 0 to 60 time is 4.1 seconds and has a top speed of 155 miles an hour. So 155 miles an hour is pretty hefty. And you know, when people buy a Supra, they're not going to keep the car stock for long. So I can imagine once you put bolt-ons, a tune on the Supra, I'm sure you're gonna get under 4 seconds 0 to 60 times, which is really fast. I mean, that's like supercar territory. So now the Supra also has an electronic differential, which Toyota claims that it's a 50-50 weight distribution from the front axles to the rear. So the handling of the Supra should be absolutely superb too. So I don't see anything wrong with what Toyota's done. I'm not crazy about the body lines. It's not a 2J. But I think overall, right around $60,000, I think for the money, you're getting one hell of a car. You're gonna get a legend. You know, I think it's really cool how they did the Supra logo like the old Mark IVs. I think it's gonna be a huge hit. And unlike some people are saying, I really do feel like it's gonna be one of those cars that if you don't pick up now, in the next 4 years, you're really gonna wish you did. I know there's a huge controversy over the Supra. I really wanna hear your guys' opinion on it. 50-50 on if they did it more like some of the renderings I saw, I think it would have been phenomenal, but it looks okay. I think powertrain's good. If it really handles as well as they say it's going to, I think it's going to be one hell of a car. So let me know down below what you think of the new Toyota Supra. Now, probably my favorite car that they announced was the Subaru Sti S209. Now, this car is rumored to be limited at 200 units for the US, so it's going to be a very, very, very limited production car, and I'm really curious to see what the price tag is going to be. Now, they did release the Subaru STI RA, which was another very limited car, and I believe that had a price tag of $55,000. So I'm assuming this one's either going to be a little bit more expensive or right on par with that. But this car is awesome. I think it's really cool that Subaru finally bumped the power up. They gave this car 341 horsepower. So the STI, the EJ, has always been 305 or somewhere around there, and it's finally time, in my opinion, that they did some type of refresh, and I'm really glad that they did. So an extra 35 horsepower, there's nothing to complain about there, and it's a Subaru, so it's still gonna have that beautiful rumble. Now, the extra power is courtesy of a larger turbo, forged pistons, connecting rods. It has a higher flow fuel pump with larger injectors. And then what's really cool about the new STI, another really cool feature of the new STI is they brought back from the 04 through 07 STI the water-cooled intercooler. So basically what it does is it helps spray the intercooler, which keeps your temps down. I think it's really cool that they brought that back, a really cool feature. And in my opinion, the Hawkeye STI was probably the most famous and is gonna be one of those collector items someday. So I'm really excited that they kind of, you know, brought back something that so many people loved in the STI. Our standard comes with a D-shaped steering wheel. I'll try to put some photos up on the screen, and then all of them are gonna come with Recaro seats. So I'm sure the bolstering is gonna be perfect. If people do end up taking it to a track day, I bet this car is gonna be an absolute track weapon. Now, coming from a Focus RS, I love the STIs, but there's too many of them where I live. They're not rare enough or unique enough, and the Focus RS is just an all-around faster car, and personally just what I'm happier with. So the water spray on the intercooler is going to be a super cool feature of the brand new STI, but Subaru just confuses me. They didn't really do any body refresh on this new S209. They're only limiting it to 200 units, which I think is really cool for exclusivity, but at the same time, it's not brand new. It still has the same body style as the 15 through 18s. It's it's just not new enough for me. It's cool that they bumped the power up on it, but I was hoping for a totally new body refresh, and something just brand new to blow everybody's mind, and something, even though it's discontinued, to compete with the Focus RS, because I still think the Focus RS is going to walk the new STI, in my opinion. Now, this car obviously only comes in a 6-speed manual. There's no option for an automatic, because you just don't get an automatic if you're in an STI. And then obviously it's a Subaru, so it's going to be all-wheel drive as well. Now, Subaru claims this car is going to handle better too, because it's got upgraded tires that are going to be wider than what's on your standard STI. The car comes equipped with the Dunlop GT500A tires, which should be really good. I think they're a newer tire. I haven't heard of them before. You guys might correct me if I'm wrong. I haven't heard of the tire. Subaru claims the STI should handle better. So I think all around, Subaru's done a very good job at marketing the car. I think those units are going to sell out very, very quickly, especially because there's only 200 of them. It's me, because I don't think people are actually going to use the car for what it's meant for. If you're buying one of 200 units, it's such a limited or rare car that I don't think anybody's actually going to mod them or do anything crazy to them. So I guess time will tell, and we'll just have to find out what people end up doing to them. Once again, if you guys are excited for the new STI S209, you'll have to let me know down below. And now, for some of you, this is probably going to be your favorite car of the 2019 Detroit Auto Show, but it is the brand new Shelby GT500. Very, very anticipated. The GT350, the GT350R did absolutely incredible, and it was such a good platform, and people just love them, and I'm assuming that's going to be the same way with the GT500. Now, Ford didn't announce the exact power numbers that this car is going to be putting down, but they say it's 100% going to be over 700 horsepower. So let's talk about other cars that kind of compete in that category. Now, you have your Challenger Hellcat, you have your Demons, all of those are going to produce over 700, the Demons close to 8, and then Chevy's got their Camaro, the Z01, they have their Corvette Z06, puts 650 horsepower down. So if they're claiming it's going to be over 700, I think it is going to be the go-to for muscle cars. All these companies are in these horsepower wars, and it's who can get the most horsepower and how much can we get out of the car, and it's going to be an absolute hoot of a car. And I believe Ford has announced that it's going to come with the automatic transmission, and there won't be an option for a manual. So I know there's so many people out there that absolutely love manual transmissions, love rowing their own gears, me included. And I don't know, I think the automatic transmission is going to be the absolute best for the track, obviously, because, you know, human error is there, and when you're throwing gears or rowing gears, you can't do it as fast as a computer can. There's something to be said about the overall driving experience of a manual, so we'll have to see how that plays out. Now, all of the shots I've seen of the GT500, it is one of the prettiest cars I have ever seen. And me being a Ford fanboy, I think it would be an awesome car. I've really thought about, you know, test driving a GT350 and seeing what they're like, because from everything I've heard, everybody said it's not like your typical Mustang, because it revs out past 8,000 RPM and is an absolute track monster, handles really well. I'm super excited to see what the GT500 is like. I can't wait to see some reviews on it, see what people actually think of the car when it's all said and done. Those are the 4 cars that I'm most excited about. If I missed anything, I want you guys to comment down below. Let me know what you think. What was your favorite car? Maybe a car I didn't mention. I know there were a ton of other cars that they had announced, but me being the car guy I am, those are the 4 that kind of stood out most to me, as I'm sure it did to you guys. I'm really excited for the Supra, the STI. They're all great cars, great companies, and I would personally love to drive any of those cars on a daily basis. So let me know down below what your absolute favorite car was that was announced at the 2019 Detroit Auto Show. If you guys are new to this channel, please subscribe. I pump out a ton of content on my Focus RS and my Legacy GT. Thanks so much for watching the video. Don't forget to hit the like button, and I'll see you guys next video.